Good day, everyone. I welcome you all, my dear students, to our class today. And now we're going to discuss about the practice of blended learning. As your teacher, I am very happy and excited to teach you about this topic. But before we begin, let us all stand and bow our heads for a short prayer. Thank you, and you may now take your seats. Now, let's do a quick recap about our previous topic before jumping straight to our lesson proper. As discussed in a previous lesson, blended learning is one of the categories of wave-based instruction. A simple notion mention about blended is that it is a combination of wave-based instruction to the face-to-face classroom instruction. However, there is more than this idea. Educational technologies and practitioners emphasize that blended learning allows the utilizations of pedagogical strategies and approaches in the teaching and learning process. So now, before we're going to proceed to our discussion, you are given share and learn something from your classmates. Write at least 3 ways on how you interact in your class during the pandemic. Write it in the bubble of the learner with the same sex as yours, and then ask one of your classmates of the opposite sex and write hers in the other bubble. So now, let us proceed to our discussion. So, this lesson aims to utilize different models of blended learning and how these are applied in different academic levels with an expectation that the students are able to. So these are the objective that which is you are able to know today. So first, you are able to describe the various models of blended learning. Next, the critique the different forms of online interaction and demonstrate station rotation model and blended learning and a simulated learning environment. So, learning in face-to-face mode of although viewed as a traditional way of teaching is still one of the best way of honing learning that allows teachers to understand you. We teacher understand you as learners and still a holistic perspective. So, but right now, wave-based and online education started to be used with the aim of bridging limitation caused by the distance and time. In this way, learners will get to be informed with novel information and be able to understand. You will able to understand other perspective of life as well. So, when you have a reflection of these matters, both ways do really have something to offer in the field of education. So with this advantage, many practices infuse these two. So methods in one learning experience with the aid of web-driven instructional resources. So the simple combination of information given by you, the teacher, and the use of web-based resources is not enough to holistically as novel and complex idea. Blended learning is understood using the 4 models according to Horn and Staker, which we are going to discuss right now. So these 4 models are thoroughly discussed on the further part. So in pedagogical approaches, strategies, and practices, we have the classroom-based learning, the online learning, and the blended learning. So in the blended learning, we have the 4 model, which is first, the rotation model, Flicks model, a la carte model, and enriched virtual model. So under the rotation model, there are sub model, which is what we call the station rotation model, lab rotation model, flip classroom model, and individual rotation model. So now, first, let's go back to the 4 model. First, we have the rotation model. So what is rotation model? In this model, Learners were asked to rotate on a fixed schedule based on your discretion as teacher. So it means that this rotation should be done between various learning modalities, and at least one is online learning. Activities for each station may be small group, of a whole class works, group projects, individual tutoring, and traditional tasks and assignments. Learning takes mostly in a break and mortal campus, except for bring home tasks. So there are four subs model under the rotation model. So first we have the submodel station rotation, or what we call the station rotation. So what is station rotation? So in this model, this submodel, learners rotate within a classroom or in a group of classroom. Learners will rotate in all stations, not only those assigned to them. So it is mean that it adheres in blending approaches or approach as learners um, can or actually experience the this method within the class. So despite being in a traditional classroom setting, so in doing this, learners are grouped in a collaborative learning station, or what we call the CLS. So after assigning specific tasks in each CLS, clear and written instruction will be given on how the activity will go and the direction of rotation. So um, the assigned teacher will end the rotation with an open discussion. So next we have the second sub-model of rotation model is the lab rotation model. So what is lab rotation model? In this rotation model, um, learners rotate in a computer laboratory or in a multimedia room, especially for online learning stations. So it means to say that learners who are responsible enough may do this model with longer schedules, as rotation may take longer time. So next, the third one is we have the flipped classroom, third sub-model of rotation model. In this rotation model, learners work for their online learning and an off-site place for their bring-home task, and will attend brick and mortar campus for teachers guided face-to-face activities. So it means that contents are mainly delivered online, which differs from some model that only utilize what? Online medium for bring home task. So that is flip classroom, or the sub-model of rotation model. So the last sub-model of rotation model is the individual rotation. So what is individual rotation? In this rotation model, learners are given freedom on what rotation to take based on their availability. So individualized schedules for each learner is what? Expected to design their own schedule of or be given by the assigned teacher. So again, class, under the rotation model, we have a four sub-models too, which is the station rotation, the lab rotation model, flip classroom, and the individual rotation. Now, let us proceed to the second model, which is the Flix model. So what is Flix model? So it says that online tasks, or this model, online tasks serve as a mainstream source of learning, though learners are asked to perform offline activities. So what do you mean by that, ma'am? It means that flexibility of schedules among learning modalities will be provided, as learning may individualize and customize mobility. So the assigned teacher will be on the site, as learners mostly work on a break in a mortal campus, except again for a bring home task. So as they are in the campus, learners are supposed with flexible and adaptive activities like group work, small discussion, and individual tutoring. Moreover, the role of the teacher supplements online learning on a regular basis. So that is Flick's model. Now, let's proceed to the third one, Lacarte model. So, Lacarte model is that in this model, learners take entirely online class along with other experiences that the learners is having at a brick and mortar campus. So what do you mean that? From the word Lacarte model. Lacarte means that the assigned teacher work online while learners may choose between working on the brick and a mortar campus or off-site. So it is mean that it is different from a full-time online learning because it is not a whole school experience, no? As a learners take some courses online and others take it from a brick and mortar campus. And now, the last one is the enriched virtual model. So, in this model, learners take part of the course face-to-face with the assigned teacher. So, and are free to work remotely for the remaining of the coursework. So, what do you mean by that? It is mean that when working remotely, class, learners may work online with the minimal guidance of the assigned teacher. So it is not the same with a flipped classroom since learners seldom meet face-to-face with their assigned teacher. And it's different from a fully online course because a face-to-face learning is given as some part of the course. So now, again, what are those four types of blended learning, which is we have a four model. So first we have the rotation model, and under the rotation model we have the station, or the sub-model of rotation model is the station rotation model, lab rotation model, flip classroom model, and individual rotation model. So next, the Flix model, Lacarte model, enriched virtual model. So now, since learners' pacing is given much attention in the blended learning method, the online communication may come in two ways depending on what the learners can attend to the class. So this may be classified as synchronous or asynchronous. The table below will provide a brief discussion on the difference of the two. So first, we have the points of difference between synchronous and asynchronous when it comes to pacing. So when it is synchronous, constant bit rate for several minutes or hours. But if asynchronous, it depends on the learner. So when it comes to time of conduct, in synchronous, it is a real time. While in asynchronous, offline as long as it will reach the deadline. And when it comes to internet connection, the difference between synchronous and asynchronous is that stable and fast, while in asynchronous won't require as fast connection. So when it comes to type of communication, in synchronous, chat rooms and online conferences will be used. And asynchronous, discussion forum, tools and learning management system, or what we call the LMS. So, aside from the differences of online communication, blended learning also differs based on the interactions of the learners in a distance communication. According to Mori, the three types of interactions are teacher-to-learner interaction, learner-to-content interaction, and learner-to-learner interaction. So, a while ago, before we start our discussion, you share and learn something from your classmates, and you write at least 3 ways on how you interact in your class. So now, in order for you to assess on what you understand based on what you have learned about blended learning, cite at least 10 resources, tangible or not, that you think is needed to realize those. So these resources may be already be in your schools, and the implementors and the students are still lacking. So you can place it on your clean paper. If you are finished, please pass your paper. From the list you have made in a previous page, do you think your school is ready for blended learning? Why do you think so, class? So for that, you have an assignment. So your assignment is, based on what you have learned and reflected about blended learning, write an essay of conducted a blended learning approach in the schools of DepEd. Be comprehensive with your claims and utilize realistic information. You can reflect it to your answer on a clean bond paper. So for that, great job everyone. Thank you for your presence and participation today. For now, let's end the class here. Have a great day everyone. God bless. Bye-bye and see you next meeting.